When I'm up through the night, I can't turn down the noise, tear all the words out of my mind. About who I'm supposed to be, I start to believe I can't get it right. Remember the days I let slip away, they were simpler times. Mama told me before you leave, if there's only one thing you remember from me, child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I'll bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Maybe my compass was wrong, and I'm still on my way closer to where I belong. I'm still rolling the dice, praying sometimes don't last it long. I'm losing my faith, I'm walking away from what you knew all along. Mama told me before you leave, if there's only one thing you remember from me, child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I'll bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I'll bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want now. This ain't what you want. Who alive can't put me in a box. I redefine any definition you got. I am the tiger, I'm making steps to the top. The flames, I whip it up, you just gotta hand me the rock. Take a seat, you cannot stand it. All I know, the flow harder than a Scotch bunny. Don't try study me, you cannot manage. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon. I'm known as spit vicious. Release bombs and go tick tick. Boom, you blow me, that head missing. I'm a phenomenon. Stacking cheese like it's Parmesan. 8 different flows, call me Octomom. I'm moving fast like the Autobahn. And I'm independent, so I'm not your fucking starving like it's Ramadan. Sick, twisted, gifted, can't copy, printed, can't hold me down. I shape shift, I'm liquid. I killed this beat, I might get convicted. They know how I move, it was predicted. Persistent, spoke it into existence, so consistent, no assistance. Hear me once, become addicted. If I rap it, then I live it. There's no cap when I be spitting this. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.
Taste in tunes and everything you ooze. The tempo of your beat, you bleed a melody. No one can control that old time rock and roll. No rule of gravity. And hey, can I follow you back to your room, watching you bloom in the light of the moon? Can I follow you back to your arms, wash it all off in the river of your heart? There's a million different songs that I learned to sing, watching you bloom in the light of the moon. Your loneliness will never be lost on me, so reach out and love and don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger now. Turn up the stereo, the sound is taking hold. You dance like no one sees, a private galaxy. The music of your soul, a symphony composed. Your words are wasted on me. Can I follow you back to your room, watching you bloom in the light of the moon? Can I follow you back to your arms, wash it all off in the river of your heart? There's a million different songs that I learned to sing, watching you bloom in the light of the moon. Your loneliness will never be lost on me, so reach out and love, don't be a stranger. Can I follow you back to your room, watching you bloom in the light of the moon? Can I follow you back to your arms, wash it all off in the river of your heart? There's a million different songs that I've learned to sing, watching you bloom in the light of the moon. Your loneliness will never be lost on me, so reach out and love and don't be a stranger.
Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon, and I end up alone. I'm not certain. Yeah, the girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you Hollywood perfect.
There we go. Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Apollo Racing Club here this evening on Saturday night. It's the 60 Minutes at Barcelona in ACC GT3 action. I'm Adam, EV500 here in the commentary booth, and joining me once again this evening is the one and only Bash Dash. Bash, it is going to be a great race here tonight at Barcelona.
Indeed, it is. First off, how are you doing?
Oh, I am good. I had a pretty good night last night with my dirt track gig that I have in my local town. Very good night of racing, very close night of racing, and hopefully the same happens here tonight. So, Bash, we had, well, first off, I should ask you, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited about today. We know what these drivers can do. They put on a good show for us every time, and the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya is one of my favorite tracks on the F1 calendar, anywhere really. Just all the twists and turns, as well as that long straight at the end and start. Really good overtaking opportunities, especially for those drivers who can carry a lot of speed into the turns.
Looking over at the standings right now, our championship leader, Andrew Warden, he has won 4 races in a row here at Apollo Racing Club and only has 1 second place all season. So the man is on a warpath here at Apollo Racing Club. And the man behind him is Daniel Wright. He has been in that second place position for 3 races and 1 third place finish, and was and fell down to the back of the pack in Brands Hatch. That was our second round of the year. Those two are very close. Are going to be very close here this evening. I was talking with Andrew Warden last week, and he was saying that Daniel Wright might have his number this week, considering that the Honda here is not the greatest car in the world. So it'll be very interesting looking at practice times. Daniel Wright actually squeaking by 4/10 over Andrew Warden with a 143.641. So those two are going to be having a close battle here this evening. Looking around out of the top 2, as I pull up my standings here, is Tommy Kogan sitting with 134 points. He has finished 3rd place in the last 2 races and had a podium finish in the first race. In 4th place will be Craig Bray, and in 5th place is Fred Forsberg, who is not here this evening. Well, we are going to get ready for our qualifying. As usual, the amateurs will go out first, so it looks like Brandon Gobes in the Audi is going to be going out here very quickly. But let's take a look at this beautiful track. We'll pull up a track map for everybody to see here. This is the beautiful Barcelona circuit. As Bash was saying, the long front straight on the start finish straight, and then you'll have a nice long straight after sector 1 into a heavy braking zone. Again, this is somewhat of a Hungaroring field, but a little bit faster because you will have low grip throughout the turns, as we're seeing Brandon Gobes, that number 7 car, going through a place that you can't really fly through. You'll lose the front end very quickly.
Yeah. We've seen how the McLarens and the Hondas can do on this track. I'm very interested in seeing what this Audi can do, as it's starting its out lap, and it will prepare to set the first hot lap of the session. Of course, these are the amateurs, but we've seen the amateurs time and time again give the pros a run for their money. So we'll see if Brandon Gobes can pull something out.
Also, a man out on track is, never mind, Alan Zoe is in that group as well, but he had to pull off. Roadside Cookie in this group of amateurs, and Chris Yu as well in the McLaren. Jeff Fleischman is driving the Audi. He is also out on track amongst the amateurs. And Alex Alfonso, a man who is very quick here as well. I should mention the fact that Don Fox is not here tonight. He is the man who is leading the amateur field right now. So this got very interesting, because this means Alan Zoe and Alex Alfonso have an opportunity to capitalize on some big points tonight in the amateurs. Now let's head back over to Brandon Gobes, who will be starting his lap here as he goes through turn 1 very nicely. Again, have to be very careful on the throttle, keep the grip down, keep the grip as comfortable as possible through here, and he does a nice job navigating through here. Bash, go ahead.
Definitely. What I noticed during that outlap was that Gobes really took his time, just tried to make sure that he got that racing line down, mastering the smoothness before you can master the speed. And it seems to be paying off as every single apex is just running for its life as Brandon just smashes through it and carrying that speed through the straights as well. Very good throttle control, very good shifts. Just putting on a masterclass. We'll have to see if he's maximized the speed itself, but at the very least, this is a very solid first hot lap from Brandon Gobes.
Currently 0.6 up on his Delta. He comes into this heavy braking zone. This is ACC. This is the classic, I would say, Barcelona track layout. So it gets very interesting. The new layout, obviously, you go a little bit further down and turn there instead. So Brandon Gobes coming into the chicane, a very difficult chicane to pass on, and he hits both apexes very nicely. Now he's coming through the final turn. Now going to come on to the final straight now, and he's going to put the pedal to the metal here, and it goes fastest here with a 145.579. Let's head over to Roadside Cookie, who's coming into the chicane. There's actually someone else in front of him. There was a McLaren in front of him. I couldn't tell who that was. Is that Timmy Wilkins? It is. He's coming down the straight now. He's going to put up a time here, but I don't think it is going to be valid. It is valid. He goes with a 148.804. Now Alex Alfonso going second fastest amongst the amateurs with the 145.672. And now let's take a look over at Roadside. Nope, not Roadside Cookie. Let's head to Jeff Fleischman. He is coming into the chicane. He's looking very good here. He's currently 0.2 up on his time. He gains actually another 10th. He now moves up to 0.3 on his Delta as he comes out of the chicane. Loses a 10th, though, coming through the final turn and comes down the final straight and does a nice job. Goes third fastest amongst the amateurs with a 147.211.
Pretty fast laps, though the one driver who's gotten close to Gobes is Alfonso, though there's the two drivers in the 1 minute 45 range, and they are separated by around about a 1/10 of a second. So we'll see if that M6 will be able to beat the other German car in the lineup. Right now, Alex looks like he's not improving on his lap. Neither is Brandon, but yeah, maybe they're just trying to look at their lines, seeing how they can improve before they put the pedal back on the metal. It looks like Chris Ungurian has put in a time as well in the 147 range with that crazy yellow and blue McLaren, bringing out shades of like Sonic the Hedgehog colors on that one.
Now that McLaren, he's currently 0.2 up on his fastest time. And if he is 0.2 up, that would not move him up a place. He has to find at least 0.4 here as he comes into the chicane, now only down to a 10th. The man in front of him is Jeff Fleischman. He's currently 0.6 up. We're going to head to we're actually going to go to Daniel Castillo here in just a little bit because he is going very quickly here as Chris Ugurian comes across the line and does not improve. Let's head over to Daniel Castillo, who is starting his lap here. He's currently 1.4 seconds up in that row racing BMW, and he currently is sitting with a 151.285.
Yeah, Castillo's got a lot of room for improvement. I'm not sure that 1.5 seconds up will bring him up a place, but at the very least, it's good to see that he's getting faster. Maybe with subsequent laps, he'll continue to chip away. But right now, he's at the very least trying to make sure that he does get the improvement on that lap, which will, at the very least, give him momentum for the next one. Right behind him is, I think, is that a Porsche?
Yep, that's a Porsche. That's the Porsche of Alan Zoe, who's currently 0.6 up on his Delta. Here comes Dan Castillo. He puts up a time of 149.857, but Alan Zoe going fourth fastest with a 146.905 and currently 1.3 seconds off of Brandon Gobes' pace. Brandon Gobes putting in a 145 here at Barcelona.
Yeah, the breaking through the 147 mark, very impressive from Zoo. Maybe, I don't know if he used the slipstream at all, but that was pretty fun to watch. Castillo breaks past the 1 minute 50 mark as well. He's at a 4.9857. He will need to improve more if he wants to go higher up the order. Doesn't look like he's doing that, but at the very least, he's at least shown that he can improve his race pace. Let's see who else is putting on hot laps. We got
Chris Ugurian is back out again. He comes up with and he goes third fastest with a 146.134.
Ooh, all right.
Now
Yeah,
only a
that's
half.
right, McLaren.
Yeah, and he only has now a minute to put in another hot lap here. Our amateurs are only allowed the first 10 minutes of qualifying to get their qualifying in before the pros come on out. But Alex Alfonso doing a great job here as well. He's only 0.09 of a second off of Brandon Gobes.
He really wants to be best of the rest. Let's see if he can break through Brandon's time. Currently, he's on pace. He just needs to follow through with the rest of the corners, and it looks like he's on trend. I don't know if there are going to be any minor improvements to his times. It looks like the improvement to his delta is dropping off just slightly. Has to make sure that he keeps... Oh, no, it's growing. It's growing.
But that was an off track. That hadn't been an off track. That was way off.
Yeah, no, somehow he gets away with that.
Let's see if he does count this lap. It's going to be a pretty good lap if it is. He's currently half a second up, and if that holds, that puts him in almost to that's a 145.1 bash, and that's kind of a crazy statistic as he comes down into the chicane here. Roadside.
But Roadside Cookie breaks the 145 mark with a 44.784. I don't know if Alex is going to be able to beat that, but time will tell. He crosses the line and he gets a 145.069, putting him comfortably in second and ahead of Brandon Gobes. Roadside Cookie, where did that come from, though?
That is extremely fast-paced, so he must put in a lot here. Jeff Fleischman will be the last man to cross the finish line here for the amateurs and call it a day for qualifying. Currently loses all his time that he gained. He was like 0.3 up on his pace, and currently
he invalidated his lap anyways.
Well, and that will do it for him. Well, Roadside Cookie takes pole position for the amateurs. So let's head on over to some of the pros here. Let's see. Let's go to Daniel Wright. He's actually, I think, one of the first guys out there.
All right, let's go to Daniel Wright.
Daniel Wright in the Blue Devil Racing McLaren, and guess who's right behind him? It's Andrew. It's not Andrew Warden. It's Tommy Kogan. So this will be interesting to see who's going to come out on top in this qualifying for the pros. This
definitely.
So Daniel Wright again was beating out Warden in practice today.
I got a question though. Why is the team called Blue Devil and then the car is green?
Well, Bash, a lot of things in this world really just don't make any sense anymore.
Yeah. I guess we'll just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it there.
Yeah,
just a lot of things just don't make sense anymore, but that's all right. We're going
like Daniel Wright is going to try to make the most sense of this track as he can, though. He's doing, like what Brandon Gobes was doing, a pretty analytical outlap. Just trying to make sure he's got the smoothness of the line, sort of a slow as smooth as fast kind of philosophy. We'll just have to see if he can translate that into quali and keep that car under control during the fastest speeds. Approaching the penultimate corner and then the ultimate corner. And let's get this thing started.
Well, we're going to ride on board with Daniel Wright here in this McLaren as he now starts his hot lap here. He's now falling down to turn number 1. And this is where you are going to have so much speed, but it's going to be a heavy braking zone. You're going to hear him brake at the 100-meter board and get all the way down, get those gear shifts all the way down. But here he comes again through a sector where, again, you can lose the grip of the car here. You can hear the throttle you hear Daniel Wright just kind of easing into the throttle a little bit, keeping the tires spinning and keeping the torque going in the tires to keep the grip and not getting that understeer or oversteer through there. Now does a nice job through that apex, coming into another heavy braking zone. Again, another place, a slow corner, another place to lose grip here at Barcelona. But here comes Daniel Wright. He is looking pretty fast here. He is currently 8/10 up on his Delta. So I'll be very curious to see what will happen here. Now he's coming into the back straight and bash. This is where you gain a lot of speed and a lot of time.
Definitely. Yeah, he swung wide a little bit in one of the corners and he ate some curb in the other corner, but his lap's still alive and he is improving vastly. Of course, with what the last says, that's to be expected, but yeah, no, the impression with the way he's turning that he's giving me is that this is just a lap to say, yes, I've got a lap on the board, I have qualified, but it's still very, very quickly. If he's still got room for improvement, it'll be very fun to see. But anyways, yeah, going right out the gate with a 144.181, comfortably ahead of Roadside Cookie, as is expected from one of the top pros. What is Tommy Kogan gonna get? Andrew Warden coming out with a 144.169. That's crazy. Roadside Cookie still in third, and Alex Afonso is still in fourth. So maybe the rest of the drivers just need to get up to speed, or maybe these two rookies these two AMs rather, are just really going quickly today.
Kieran Fox coming across the line, goes 12th fastest with 146.845, and then heading over to Big Bark. Big Bark in that Ferrari putting up a 145.225, going 6th fastest. Saavedra going with a 145.438, and Daniel Wright is now 2nd fastest behind the man Andrew Warden. Iceton going 5th fastest with a 145.126. So there's your update right there, folks. Lots of things happening on track. Craig Bray does not get a valid lap in, neither does Waffle Smacks. Let's head on over to Daniel Wright, I guess. He's currently 3/10 up. 3/10 would put him in front of Andrew Warden.
Ooh. Yeah. But, yeah, regarding Bray, Waffle Smacks, Stevens to an extent, I guess sometimes some of the drivers just like to test the limits a little bit, just see where exactly you can push before making that lap. I'm not sure if that's what those drivers are doing now, but it's always a fun thing to keep in mind. Wright, we just saw him finish a lap. He breaks the 144 barrier, going ahead of Warden with a 143.926, and he's looking to improve still. He just saw Warden getting ahead of him after that first lap, and he started seeing red because now he's just on a war path, and we're still just in quali.
Yeah, we're still in quali here, and looking at, let's see here. Now Big Bark going 3rd fastest with 144.730. I will say there's a lot of action, a lot of cars on track. Saavedra in the Bentley, in the CMR Bentley going with a 145.438, going 7th fastest. Waffle Smacks finally putting up a time here at Barcelona with a 145.855, going 11th fastest. And then Tommy Kogan still 12th fastest here in that Honda NSX with a 146.002, but he's currently 1.2 seconds up on his fastest time. Dave Hassar now going 11th fastest with a 145.801. Things are getting spicy here in qualifying. We're going to stay with Tommy Kogan here because he is a man that has been matching pace in terms of being in the top 5, or in most of the races. He was being chased down last week for P3 and ended up having to get a clean getaway after the pits. And he was able to get 20 seconds ahead, basically. So Tommy Kogan coming through the final turn, and he's going to put that pedal to the metal and giddy up and go here. Now he goes 4th fastest with a 144.772, And that is what you like to see. Let's head down to Saavedra coming across the line now. And he does not. And yes, he does improve on position now, going 8th fastest, beating out Craig Bray. So I have a feeling we're going to see a competition for P6 again, just exactly like how we saw it for last week. And that,
certainly. Roadside Cookie must just be like, how am I still in 5th?
How is he still in 5th? Roadside Cookie with a 144.784. The only rookie in the top 5. Let's head on over to Easton. He's now coming down the front straight, and he is looking pretty fast here. He does not improve on position, so he will go once again. Let's head on over to Dave Hassar in the Nissan GTR, in the Yoshi Auto Sport Nissan GTR. Currently 13.
Nissan can do.
This Nissan, it could, it's a pretty stable car. I think a lot of people like it, but the Nissan's currently out of the top 10. We only have 2 Nissans here tonight at Apollo Racing Club, but we have 19 drivers here joining us this evening. So we'll have, basically, I would say a pretty nice sized grid. Now Dave Hassar coming down that back stretch. Again, a heavy braking zone. You're going to see him brake at that 100-meter board. Does a nice job rolling through the corner and gets back right on the throttle. And this is exactly what you like to see from drivers, just nice and calm pace. Currently 1.9 seconds off of Daniel Wright's pace.
Yeah. On the subject of pace, Andrew Warden is just breaking the 1 minute 44 mark. Now he is within 0.3 of a second of Daniel Wright. There's just a minute of qualifying left, so we'll see if Warden can surprise Wright at all. In any case, we'll just see how Dave Hassar finishes. Goes up to 8th position with a 9th after Saavedra put up his time. 145.201 to Saavedra's 145.102. Hassar will, of course, want to improve further, but let's see how the front runner's doing. Andrew Warden about to put in a lap. 143.875, but it doesn't look like it counted.
No, it did not. It looks like he'll have to go one more time. Luckily, he had 30 seconds when he crossed the line here. No Lewis Hamilton Mercedes games here today. 20 seconds now, so drivers are really pushing here. Tommy Kogan, he is going to be a man. This is going to be his final lap. Same with Big Bark. These 2 drivers currently up on their Delta. Andrew Warden now 0.3 up on his Delta as he comes. I can't remember the turn names here. I gotta pull up Barcelona track map real quick.
Daniel Wright's just chilling in the pits. He must not think anyone can beat him. I like the confidence. He'll definitely, avoiding any incidents, I definitely see him finishing top 3.
As do I. Now Andrew Warden, he goes. He hit that curve pretty hard, unstabling that NSX, but he is currently 0.3 up.
He may just be on pace. He may just be on pace to take pole. Daniel is watching very nervously right now, I imagine. Although I don't know how much exactly pole position means to him. Warden goes into that curb a little bit, but his lap is still alive. Just has to make sure he doesn't push it too hard. But yeah, no, it's as long as he can finish these final straights with a lot of speed, he could very well take pole. He has to go a little bit higher than where he's at. Is this going to do it?
It's going to be close.
It is.
My Lord, he steals it.
680.
The man steals it.
Thousandths of a second. What a close battle. Daniel Wright has to be clapping right now. He's like, all right. I see you.
Wow.
Let us take it to the track. And Roadside Cookie is going to stay in 5th for this quali. Must be very proud of himself.
Folks, tell your friends to join us here this evening. We are going to have a race on our hands because when you have the two
Daniel Wright in the chat going, dude, really? Really? 6,000ths of a second? Crazy. Craig Bray going spicy. Shout outs to Wingstop. Shout outs to Orachon Ramen. We got the special 2 out here. Ooh. Yeah, nah, put Andrew Warden on the wall of bravery for that. And Roadside Cookie, We'll see if he can't translate this into a top 5 finish for the AMs. The only prediction I see is that I think at least in the back, around the back area, we're going to see a lot of overtakes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, most definitely. Last week at Hungaroring, we saw a very close battle for 4th and 3rd, and then we saw a very close battle for 6th. I would not be surprised, of course, if we see a very close battle for the lead between Daniel Wright and Andrew Warden. Hopefully, it's a clean battle. We don't want to see any accidents happen, but I could really see a very aggressive night tonight. We're going to see probably packs break out very, very early. We're going to see the leaders break out, and then we're going to see the midfield really space itself out into separate groups. So this is going to be a very interesting race indeed. I think from top to bottom, we're going to have our hands full, folks, here at Apollo Racing Club with everything getting ready to begin. Strap on, folks. It is going to be a big one. Thank you so much for joining us here at Apollo Racing Club. We are about a minute away from starting our formation lap, or the pace lap, we should call it. So, Bash, any early predictions?
I think most of the action is going to happen on the straights. I don't know. I feel like the corners are a good place to position yourself for slipstream. I guess it really depends on how ambitious these drivers are and what sort of strategies for moving up the order that they have. But also, top 3 finish for Wright, and I do think Roadside Cookie is going to carry that top 5. I don't know if Warden or Wright is going to win, though, barring any incidents. Or maybe someone else will sneak up from behind. Imagine if Roadside Cookie actually wins. That would be funny.
That would, that would just make my week right there.
Mine
that
too.
Would just, and obviously we would like to send our condolences to the marshal that was killed today in Brands Hatch, and all those who were involved in that incident in the Brit car event today at Brands Hatch. And then also in the 24 hours of Spa, we wish every one of those drivers involved, Jack Aiken being one of them, speedy recovery. Jack Aiken was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. So we wish all those speedy recovery, and our thoughts and prayers are with all of those involved in those accidents today of a very, very eventful day in motorsports. So here we go. 5 seconds until we go into our session. And Andrew Warden, who stole a pole position. I could not, wow. Couldn't even fathom that. But he will begin. He will lead the field away. But Daniel Wright, he'll be really close. He will definitely take his time here.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to, get himself in the right mind space. Definitely not, I don't think there's going to be any mind games going on here at Apollo Racing Club. But maybe. Who knows what could happen here. So Tommy Kogan taking another P3 qualifying here. He'll be looking for his 4th third place finish here this season. But Big Bark putting up a very nice qualifying there at the ending himself in the top 5. So, but the man who surprised, I think, most of us is Roadside Cookie and the Cookie GT Racing McLaren. Gets into the top 5. So an amateur making himself known into the top 5. In 6th place, Waffle Smacks in the Yoshi Autosport GTR. Again, very impressive qualifying from him. Easton, who was able to keep in front of everybody and kept 6th place last week and had to defend for his life, is in 7th. In that McLaren, Alex Alfonso in the 8th place in the BMW team. I'm not even going to try and attempt to say that. BMW. Saavedra in the Bentley going P9, and Dave Hassar in P10. Bash, why don't you talk us through the guys out of the top 10?
All right. So in 11th, we got Craig Bray, followed by Kieran Fox, followed by Brandon Gopes, who we were hoping would do well, but I guess had some hiccups during quali, which he will be trying to make up. followed by Chris Ungurian, Jeff Fleischman, Alan Zhu, Tim Wilkins, Daniel Castillo, and then Stevens, who is listed as in the pits for some reason. Oh no, he is in the pits in that Lamborghini. Is he starting from the pit lane?
Probably.
But yeah, no, Warden really is taking his time during this outlap. Maybe doing some pre-race rituals, maybe repeating a mantra of some sort. But also just, yeah, making sure, as usual, that the lines are smooth while everyone else maintains his formation. We'll see if he'll be able to get the jump on everyone come green flag. Here we go, final 3 corners. Oh yeah,
So
really taking his time. Really positioning himself strategically.
Yep. 1 hour race. There is a pit window here. All the drivers have to make at least 1 pit stop. And now they're going to be, this is the part where they're being told to line it up, get in order, and double file.
And soon we shall be off at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya.
Big
Sunny
Park's
day in
ready to
Spain.
go.
And vamos! Green flag.
Andrew Borden, no, we see Roadside Cookie. He's trying to get out of the top 10, out of the top 5. He tried to make a move on to Tommy Kogan, but Andrew Warden, he's going to cut off Daniel Wright as they come into turn number 1, the heavy braking zone. Can everybody get through cleanly?
Yeah, Waffle Smack seems to be up in the top 5 now, putting the GTR up in that position. Andrew Warden's gone off. Has to let Daniel Wright through. Oh, big bark. Looks like the boys in red might be getting their day after all. Always good to see Ferrari succeeding after the rough few years they've been having in motorsport. But Daniel Wright still sitting comfy in 2nd. Andrew Warden in 3rd. Still making sure they stay in the top 3. Still trying to battle for the win. We'll see if Big Bark can't do anything defensively. But yeah, Roadside Cookie has stepped down to 7th. Staying close to Alex Afonso, though. Definitely going to want to try to make his way back up. But these pros are nothing to mess with.
And we have a Nissan GTR off. That's going to be Dave Hassar in now falling back to the back of the pack here. Just had a little bit of a spin, but go. Sorry to interrupt you, Bash, but I just wanted to mention that fact. I saw that happen and just wanted to make it out there. Here comes Daniel Wright, though. He's going to make an inside move.
On the inside. Is he going to finish? Oh, no, big bark.
He's defending outside, but Andrew Wharton, he's trying to join into the fight. Now these two are going to go side by side. Big Bark gets the inside line coming through a very slow section of the course. And this is where it gets very spicy as they come through turn third. Before they come into the chicane here.
Very aggressive positional defense by Big Bark, making what I like to call Magnussen moves down that chicane. But that long straight, this could be Wright's opportunity to make something work with Slipstream. Bark is allowed 1 move to defend per tradition, I believe. Is it going to be enough? Is the speed going to be enough?
Daniel Wright. They go side by side. Andrew Warden comes into the mix and they collide.
Oh yeah, nah. It looks like front runners making contact with each other yeah, no, that's unfortunate.
Well, that keeps Big Bark in the lead. Tommy Kogan moves up into 2nd, and Waffle Smacks moves up into 3rd now. Alex Alfonso into 4th place. This is insane here.
Yeah, no, Waffle Smacks wanted to see himself get Roadside Cookie's back in 5th, though I imagine that this isn't the circumstances that he imagined it would be happening. But he's like, I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to try to capitalize off it. Waffle Smacks in that GTR probably thinking the same, wondering if he'll be able to catch up with the NSX of Kogan and the Ferrari of Big Bark, which is quite comfortably maintaining an advantage. How far down the order have Warden and Wright fallen? Warden is still in the points at 9th, going to be making his way up. Daniel Wright is all the way in 14th, though, a considerable distance from the next car up, which is Ungurian. This is going to be interesting. We'll see if they can't make their way back up. Warden is glued to the back of Bray right now, just waiting for the right opportunity to utilize that slipstream. They're both running NSXs, so it's just going to be down to racecraft and setups. This could be Warden's chance to overtake and get 8.
Heading back down to Warden. Now he's going to try and go down the front straight, try and make the inside move on the other Honda of Craig Bray, and he gets it done into turn number 1. And a nice move here. I bet there was a little bit of communication happening there. Some nice racing through there. Let's take a look here throughout the field to see if anybody else is getting closer together.
Tommy Kogan getting real close to Big Bark now. We'll see if he can't make any moves.
And that Big Bark making some very defensive move. Let's head on board with Tommy Kogan here. Let's see how defensive it really is as they come into turn number 10. Excuse me, turn number 7 and 8, and this is where it can get really spicy when they come through turn number 9. This is where you got to put it, lift a little bit, do a nice job of Big Bark. He gets right back onto the throttle. Same with Tommy Kogan. Tommy Kogan trying to shave off as much time as he can, trying to close the gap here. And here we come into the heavy braking zone of turn 10.
Of course, defensive moves can only put you so far. Big Bark is going to have to try to shave some seconds off himself because depending on the pit strategies, not having that pace, at least not having the pace to widen the gap, could be to Big Bark's detriment if Kogan is able to get through.
Iceton trying to
Smacks a considerable distance, though, so it looks like the race is between Bark and Kogan for first, but Waffle Smacks isn't giving up. He could still make his way up. It just depends on strategies. It depends on if Smacks is able to find some seconds in the corners, or rather tenths of a second. It'll be interesting to watch for sure.
Looking over at now Iceton and Andrew Warden. Andrew Warden's going to try and go down the inside of Iceton, but Iceton doing a great job here keeping Andrew Warden behind him, as now Andrew Warden currently sitting P8. So obviously these guys not in the same voice chat. But I can see Iceton defending his position here against the championship leader of our season of the ACC season. So now it looks like this McLaren is trying. Oh, he gets a little bit wide, and now here comes Andrew Warden. He's going to try and actually go for a 2-for-1 here, but that Bentley, he's going to guard his position on the inside, but now that McLaren's just going to have to allow that Honda to go through, and that of Andrew Warden. Now Andrew Warden moves up into P7 as he is making his way up through the cars here, through the traffic, and trying to take the lead of this race. Daniel Wright is currently in 13th and is currently trailing Brandon Gobes in that McLaren.
Eiston gets way too ambitious and takes out Savadra, I believe, allowing Warden to get past. And yeah, Wright is up a position as well, but unfortunately for him, he's got just a little more work to do than Warden. A lot more positions to make up, and that's even to just get in the points, let alone catch up to Warden, let alone catch up to the top of the pack. So we'll see if he's able to do that. How are our front runners right now? It looks like Bark has gained some distance on Kogan, as even though they're in the straights and even though Kogan is eating up the slipstream, there is quite the visible gap. So it looks like Big Bark has been able to improve his racecraft and get his pace in order, which is good for him. Tommy Kogan not giving up though. Waffle Smacks continues to trail, but not by too much.
Looking over at the battle for P4 between Alex Alfonso and Roadside Cookie. Roadside Cookie getting very close here. At one point was 2/10 off the rear end of Alex Alfonso. So, and here they go. Alex Alfonso kicking up some dirt as they went through as they now come into turn 5. And again, this is where it can really be a make or break situation here. Now that McLaren tried to make an inside move, but a defensive move from the BMW of Alex Alfonso keeps him in P4. But that is not, that's not going to stop Roadside Cookie and that McLaren. You can see he's keeping up pace, and this is what you like to see.
May have touched some gravel, I'm not sure, but probably not enough for Roadside Cookie to make an overtake. But yeah, no, this is really good for Roadside Cookie. Qualifying that high If he's able to increase his position further, that'll be a very good day for him. He can be proud of that. Oh, it looks like he's about to go on the inside of Alfonso though. Not enough to. Ooh, I think they've briefly made contact, but thankfully nothing to cause an incident. Roadside Cookie really wants that position.
Oh, he went
Fortunately,
way
he goes
too
wide,
far.
and he loses the position to Warden. So Warden is back in the game. He's back in the top 5. Roadside Cookie ain't giving up though.
Craig Bray moving up.
He really wanted that.
He really wanted that. I think that was a little bit too aggressive from Roadside Cookie there into the chicane. And now let's head on over back to our leaders here with Big Bark and Tommy Kogan. And this is the battle I've been loving. This is a great battle to watch now. Big Bark doing very well in the Scuderia Ferrari. Haha.
Yeah, loving the liveries on that. But yeah, it looks like, as an update as well, it looks like Craig Bray has gone past Roadside Cookie after Roadside Cookie slid a little bit. But Cookie is going to try to get that position back. And he actually does with a pretty nice overtaking maneuver. We'll see if he makes it stick. Nah, Bray's gotten it back. So it looks like they'll trade for a little bit. Back to Big Bark. He's gained some distance on Tommy Kogan, so he's definitely doing something right. Should he continue to try to be defensive? Should he try to push a little more? What do you think?
Right now, it's all about tire management and just getting to the end and just keeping people behind you. So, he's doing a good job of just defending his position. Even though Tommy Kogan keeps getting a little bit closer to, has been really close to him. Big Bark has just been able to find some really good exit speeds throughout the course here and really doing a good job, especially through the slow sectors. Just doing a great job keeping the Ferrari just really stable here, and that that's one of the best parts about this Ferrari is that it's going to be stable. And there goes Tommy Kogan off the road. Okay, bye, Tommy.
No, I have no clue what that was.
Okay, Tommy
Did he
Kogan.
just take himself out?
Tommy, no,
Did he
I
have
think
a
he just
connection issue?
yeah, I think his game just crashed or something. He's still in voice call.
He went through the pits on my camera. That was different. But that has to be unfortunate for Tommy Kogan.
That is unfortunate indeed.
Stevens is not even. I just found out Stevens is not even participating. So yeah, no Lambos on the track. But that's old news. Big Bark now able to increase his lead, largely uncontested. The only car close to him is Waffle Smacks. But Andrew Warden continues to be on a warpath. Only got Alex Afonso to try to overtake, and provided he maintains the pace that he was maintaining last couple of laps, and as long as he's able to set up an overtaking path, it could be within this lap or maybe the next one. Anyway, he's going to eat up that slipstream. We'll see if the BMW tries to pull off any defensive maneuvers. Yeah, Warden's like, nah, this ain't the one. This ain't it. I'm going to wait for another corner. Gives him a little love tap there. Just waiting for the right moment to swoop up that position because that BMW M6 is pretty wide. And you don't want to risk anything. Especially since the NSX isn't exactly a thin car either. Ooh, yeah, no, definitely handles that final chicane better than Afonso. But Afonso is able to stay close with some defensive moves. Checking back on Waffle Smacks. Yeah, nah, Big Bark is just escaping.
I'm going to be very curious to what happened there to Tommy Kogan. I have sent a DM to him to see what happened, and hopefully we'll get looks like I got a response. Oh, the power went out.
Ouch. That is unfortunate. As an update as well, Daniel Wright has made his way back in the points, and it looks like he is completing an overtaking maneuver on Easton to take 7th. Very well done from him. So it looks like the Warden-Wright battle could still be back on. It just depends on how many more of these overtakes Wright is able to perform.
Well, he's
Warden
gonna.
is still stuck by Alfonso, though.
And Daniel Wright's actually, he's probably happy to see that right now, that Alex Alfonso is defending hard for his position, as Alfonso makes his way up into P3. And for Daniel Wright, this is now going to potentially come down to pit strategy.
Yes.
Here in the next 10 or so minutes, we are going.
I know this much. Roadside Cookie is probably looking in his rearview mirror and going, man.
Yeah.
No, he's suffered plenty of overtakes already after some unfortunate incidents, and now he's got Daniel Wright in his mirror, and it's like, I thought I was gonna have a good. I mean, he's still doing good relatively. He's definitely doing a lot better than the other AMs, but I thought we were gonna see something spectacular.
And now Andrew Warden going down the inside of Alex Alfonso, and he will get the move done. Andrew Warden moves up into P3.
So he's back on the podium.
Well, here we go.
But he's still pretty far away from Waffle Smacks, who is still far away from Big Bark. So, yeah, I think it will come down to the strategy with regards to the podium placements at this point, barring any incidents or barring any random acts of increasing pace. We still need to see where Daniel Wright will fall in the order, as well as now he has to find a way to get past both Craig Bray and Roadside Cookie. And then after getting past Bray, the gap between him and Alfonso is still extremely wide. So Wright's got work and a half right here. He doesn't seem phased, though.
No, he's just
driving very confidently.
He is very nicely. I think he's just keeping his eyes in front of him and not looking behind him.
Unfortunately, it looks like the rest of the pack around the back is pretty far away from each other. Maybe some battles will develop. Fleischman, Fox, and Ice Tin are sort of close. 8, 9, and 10. So we'll have to see if any pace differences occur between them. But right now, it is hard to keep our eyes away from Daniel Wright and the top three.
He holds off a move there into turn one. I think he's going to wait for a different moment. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't try to go for the late braking move. But But I'm not the one driving the car. So let's take a look here at anybody else close. Nope, doesn't even look like it.
Yeah, he wants the increase in position, but he also doesn't want another collision. And he is racing against the same car, so it really does just come down to right place, right time kind of stuff. Roadside Cookie defending really well, though. Let's give credit where credit's due. He is having the race of his life right now.
Daniel Wright just chilling back here. Andrew Warden, third place. Craig Bray actually having to defend a little bit here. He is, because Roadside Cookie's actually getting a little bit close to that rear end. So 2 McLarens, 3 McLarens lining basically in 5th, 6th, and 7th. So that's...
Actually, I believe Bray is driving an NSX. But still.
Yeah, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Excuse me.
I mean, technically, it could be considered a McLaren because didn't Senna design it while he was on McLaren still?
I don't know. I do not know enough of the history of the NSX to say that.
I got to brush up on my history myself. But still, yeah, 3 fast, wide cars fighting for 5th position, 2 McLarens, 1 Honda, or an Acura if you're stateside. And it looks like Roadside Cookie was probably thinking about making a move on Craig Bray. Maybe Bray's been going slowly. Oh, but the blocking gives Daniel Wright an opportunity to make a move happen. He's on the inside. He's got the better line, but Roadside Cookie is just hanging on. But I don't know what else can be done. It's about who's going to outbreak who. Oh, there's a tap, but it looks like Wright will come victorious.
Well,
Roadside
finally.
Cookie is still pretty close though. He might try to switcheroo again. Craig Bray going wide though. So at the very least, it looks like Roadside Cookie is going to have to get past Craig Bray before he gets past Daniel Wright. And I think someone's gotten the drive-through penalty. It's Afonso.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Wright and Cookie are probably going to be handed another position momentarily, depending on how fast the drive-through goes. Is it a McDonald's drive-through, or is it the drive-through of an In-N-Out that just opened? I don't know how long the pit maneuvers take in Barcelona, so we'll just have to see whether or not. Actually, not. Given the gap, it's very unlikely that Afonso is going to escape with his position intact. I'm still very curious to see how this battle between Cookie and Wright goes, because it doesn't look like Roadside Cookie is about to let this position go. And Daniel Wright doesn't seem to be doing the greatest job escaping Roadside Cookie. I mean, maybe with a few more corners, I'll be eating my words. But it looks like Roadside Cookie is still battling. He might try some ambitious braking, but hopefully not too ambitious that leads him to go off the road again. Oh, I spoke. Yeah, not commentator's curse. Still, he's in 5th again, so I guess he can be happy about that.
Yeah. He'll be happy about that indeed. Daniel Wright now moving himself up into 4th place, so he is now a position behind his current rival of Andrew Warden in
who
the
is very close to Waffle Smacks right now.
Yeah, he's actually getting very close. Andrew Warden, an absolute monster.
And the pit window's just open too, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So the plot is thickening.
Well, here we go. The pit window opening up here at Barcelona. And the real question is who is going to pit first? What's the pit strategy? What is Andrew Warden going to do? Is he going to try and wait until the very last minute, try and maybe pull a fast one onto Daniel Wright? What is Daniel Wright going to do? Daniel Wright can't pit on the same lap as Andrew Warden if he wants it to even have a chance of winning this race.
If I could see telemetry info, I'd definitely be thinking up of some theories right now. I don't even know if Andrew Warden's going to try to make a move on Waffle Smacks. I don't know how good he's been managing his tires. I think what's going to happen is he's going to if he's been managing the tires properly, I think he's going to let Smacks go, try to get as much distance as possible from these tires, and then pit in right on time. He's got 18 minutes and some change. No, I think he is going to try to make the overtake. Yeah, make his way up to 2nd. But then the whole thing becomes, will he be able to catch up to Big Bark, or will Big Bark be able to come out victorious?
Looking at this battle, look how close they are. They are just so close. And now Andrew Warden tries to make a move on the outside, but Waffle Smacks defends his line. And now they're going to go down into turn number 5, and this is where you can lose a lot of grip. It looks like that Nissan did understeer a bit, but was able to get back on the grip and get back onto the pedal. And here comes Andrew Warden, though. Andrew Warden really wants that position. He wants a chance to win this race. He wants a chance to catch up to Big Bark, who right now has a 5-second lead over these two right now. But Andrew Warden, he's getting right up to the back end. Now there's contact between the two.
Yeah. Warden's been keeping it tidy, but Waffle Smacks has been doing a really good job on defense, making sure there isn't really a clear line for Warden to overtake. And that might be good for Daniel Wright. And in the meantime, Warden's just like, I need to get past this guy so I can get as far away from Wright as possible. But I don't know. I guess Waffle Smacks is going to put Wright and Warden in proximity of each other again. And we'll have to see if anything unfortunate happens again. But with the straight, with the slipstream, this could be Warden's chance to overtake. Let's see if he's able to get it done.
As they now come down turn number 1, Waffle Smacks and Andrew Warden. Andrew Warden in 3rd place. He's in the Nissan. That is the red car that is trying to make a move on the outside. But now they got to be careful because they are approaching the Nissan of Dave Hassar. And here comes Andrew Warden. He's going to make a move on the inside in turn number 2. Does he in turn number 3, excuse me, as they come into turn number 4? Can he get the move done as he now approaches traffic?
Yeah, now he's getting some deja vu as he sees another GTR, but blue flag. Hassar is not going to impede on that. But we'll see how Daniel Wright does when he has to catch up to both Hassar and Waffle Smacks before even getting a chance to touch Andrew Warden. Big Bark still just entirely in another dimension. I don't know if he's pitted or not. I don't know when he wants to pit. Has he been managing his tires?
It seems like he's done a pretty good job here. He's in the 145 2s, 145 3s. His last lap was a 145 6. His fastest time with a 145 2. So he's doing a pretty all right job. I don't think he has anything to worry about as long as he keeps people behind him, and he could probably pull off a pretty good pit stop here if he waits basically until Warden, Waffle Smacks, and Daniel Wright pit. Because now Daniel Wright has closed the gap onto Waffle Smacks. That is now a 4-second gap between the McLaren and the Nissan GTR. This will be for a podium position, but Daniel Wright wants to win this race. 35 minutes to go here, 15 minutes left in this pit window. So this is going to get very, very interesting as we head into as we are approaching the halfway point of the race.
Big Bark definitely wants to win this race as well. He's keeping it tight. He's keeping it fast. I reckon that if he stays out for most of the pit window, sooner or later he's going to want to start pushing and try to see how much time he can, or how much distance he can gain before he does have to pit, before he starts sliding and stuff. Just trying to figure out the right strategy relative to who's directly behind him. Warden, the Nissan's right. He's playing a waiting game at this point. And the question is, how long is he going to wait? I wonder if anyone in the chat is going to predict exactly when Big Bark is going to pit. Because depending on when all the front runners decide to pit, things could be shaken up.
Let's see here. Let's head down to the battle for 6th place. Iceton and Craig Bray having a battle again. These guys were battling last week at the Hungaroring for the same position, actually. It was a very good race. Talking with Craig Bray, he said towards the end of the race they had contact. As I recall from last week, they hit each other, and Craig Bray, being the good sportsman that he is, gave the position back to Iceton to give him 6th place.
Yeah, they must be thinking, who would have thought? Same position once again. But yeah, Craig Bray is making it a little difficult for Iceton, but Iceton isn't out of the game. Did Craig Bray eat some gravel there? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But let's see here. Dave Hassar, he's still just holding on to his position in P16. As I predicted, these guys were going to break off into their own little groups here, but I was not expecting to see Big Bark leading this race tonight. And he had a great start, and then the contact between Daniel Wright and Andrew Warden just gave him the lead of this race. But that could all change. It really depends on the pit strategy here, as two guys have already made their pit stops, Dave Hassar and Saavedra, in the Nissan and the Bentley. But now it really becomes a question of when do you pit? How are the tires? How is your fuel? How much fuel did you put in for this run? As Big Bark currently on 15 laps. Very nice start to his race.
Yep. Capitalizing on the opportunities perfectly. And still looks like he's a healthy distance from Warden. And it looks like he's coming into pit now. Let's see if it pays off. I'm going to keep tabs on Warden. He is choosing to stay out. We'll see if that pays off for him. Waffle Smacks is pitting as well. Daniel Wright is staying out though. So Daniel Wright and Andrew Warden decide to stay out. We'll see if that manages to do anything.
Well, this is where it can, where the pit strategy is hopefully going to work in the advantage of yourself. If you've done the calculations right, hopefully it works out. But Roadside Cookie staying out, Craig Bray staying out, looks like Kieran Fox staying out. Ice Tim went in. No, did he go in? No, he did not. He's still out there. Kieran Fox has stayed out. Jeff Fleischman stayed out. So Brandon Gobes came in.
A lot of risk takers, it looks like. In the meantime, Big Bark and Waffle Smacks as well are just like, let's just get the pit stop over with. Bark coming out before Waffle Smacks, as is expected. And now is going to have to see if he can't put on some really fast laps the moment he crosses the line. Put on the pace, try to catch up to the front runners, that kind of deal. Maybe overtake some cars in the process so he's not really held up, but that is, of course, easier said than done. Wright is still pretty distant from Warden, around 5 to 7 seconds, depending on whether they're in the straights or the corners. The software sort of likes to give us a ballpark instead of an exact estimation. So,
We are halfway through.
yeah. Warden and Wright are 1-2 halfway into the race, but of course with pitting things can change. Daniel Wright is now heading into the pits.
Interesting call from Daniel Wright. So Andrew Warden staying out here. So he is now done 17 laps as now Daniel Wright goes into the pits. Roadside Cookie staying out, of course. Craig Bray staying out as well. Ice Tin and Kieran Fox fall into the pits. Jeff Fleischman looks like he is staying out to do another lap. Alex Alfonso, who has not pitted yet, looks like he is going to stay out as well. And that is about it. Big Bark already out of the pits here in P10. So let's see what happens here. If he can get past Daniel Wright, that actually might give a vote of confidence to
Big Bark.
to Big Bark winning this race. So here comes Big Bark now. He's rounding the final turn. This is going to get very interesting. Where's Daniel Wright? He's still in the pits.
Yep.
Now the question is, when he passes, which is right about now,
And Daniel Wright, Daniel Wright just got past. Crazy.
So
And it
9
looks
seconds by the time Big Bark passed Daniel Wright. And
Big
by
Bark
the
got
time,
some considerable distance.
yeah, Big Bark got some distance now between him and Daniel Wright. But now it's going to be a question of when does Warden pit?
Yeah, Warden's decided to stay out again. Crazy.
And we've seen this before. We saw this with Fred Forsberg in the second race of the year, where he stayed out. He was leading the race and he stayed out on the tires and allowed Andrew Warden to get close to him, and ended up and Fred Forsberg ended up losing because of the pit strategy, because Andrew Warden pitted earlier. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens here if Daniel Wright and Big Bark can even make up those positions again after their pit stop. Daniel Wright currently in P7. I'm not sure how far away he is from Big Bark. It looks like about 8.6 seconds, according to the leaderboard. But Waffle Smacks has joined back into the battle here as he made his pit stop earlier in P8, right behind Daniel Wright. Waffle Smacks was third place at one point in this race before Andrew Warden overtook him right before the pit window.
Craig Bray's in the pits and Roadside Cookie is in the pits now as well. I'm not sure for how long they'll be pitting, but almost certainly Roadside Cookie will be expecting to pass them. I mean, Big Bark. Has Big Bark already passed? Yeah, nah, my thing's slow. So Big Bark's in third. Alex Alfonso is in second. I don't believe he's pitted yet.
He is not pitted. He is still needing to make his pit stop. And so
6
does
minutes
Andrew
left.
Warden.
Yep.
And here
Warden
he
has
comes.
decided now is the time to pit. We'll see if Alfonso has decided the same when he comes in. But let's see. Yeah, where is Big Bark at this point? Yeah, Big Bark is sort of halfway through the course, so very real chance that he will indeed pass Andrew Warden while Warden is still in the pits, given how long these pit stops have taken.
Big Bark currently in trying to get down as fast as he can. He has to have the quickest lap here of his life if he wants to get out past Andrew Warden here. Andrew Warden still in the pits here. This is going to get very, very, this is going to be close.
Yeah, Alfonso has decided to go into the pits as well. So the last of the front runners who didn't pit have pitted. Where's Big Bark? Oh, Big Bark's on the final 3 corners. Castillo right behind. Will he be able to maintain pace? Oh, Warden's come out of the pits. Warden's come out of the pits. But Big
this is going to be absolutely close.
And now he's got slipstream. Is he going to come out? Oh, no. Yeah,
it's going to be so close.
Andrew Warden is now really close to Big Bark. It looks like riding those tires was the perfect strategy after all. There's 25 minutes left in this race, and we all know how dangerous Andrew Warden's pace can be. Question is, will Big Bark's defensive maneuvers be enough to give him this race?
Andrew Warden currently sitting in P2. Big Bark in first place, and Daniel Wright in P3. So this is where it's going to get spicy. Less than 25 minutes to go here until we see the white flag fly here at Barcelona. And we're going to see some fireworks, folks. Do not go anywhere. If you have friends that are into sim racing, particularly GT3 racing, this is going to be a finish like no other. Andrew Warden, Big Bark, and Daniel Wright. Daniel Wright's going to have to get past Castillo here, and he's going to do a nice job of that. Just go on the inside. Just leave him be there, Castillo. Nicely done. And Andrew Warden's going to be on the chase here, and he's got to be careful here because Daniel Wright has been very quick here. He was Andrew Warden had to pull out the quali lap of his life in order to beat Daniel Wright in qualifying today. So obviously the pace is there for Daniel Wright and Andrew Warden. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. 23 minutes to go, Bash. Any other battles we need to talk about here on track?
Maybe Waffle Smacks and... No. Yeah, we have to see who's close to each other. Ice Tin is sort of close to Craig Bray. There's Gobes, Afonso, and Fleischman as well. Chris Ungurian and Tim Wilkins, the 2 McLarens battling for 13th. Yeah, there are a few battles, but yeah, now it's down to, will Daniel Wright's race pace be enough to catch up to Andrew Warden? And can Big Bark defend for a very impressive race victory? He must be under all sorts of pressure right now. He is Freddie Mercury and David Bowie right now. My goodness. But I have to give props to Andrew Warden and Daniel Wright for making their way back up to top 3 after that collision. Just not giving up, making the strategies work for them, and of course showing off all kinds of pace. They have to be commended no matter what happens. Same with Big Bark, of course, as I don't think anyone expected him to be leading this race at all, let alone close to the last 20 minutes of the race.
Well, Andrew Warden currently 1.7 seconds behind the leader, Big Bark. Daniel Wright, 5.5 seconds behind Andrew Warden. Is it just me, or do you have a nervous pit in your stomach? Something's gonna happen. I feel like something's gonna happen.
Something might happen. Like now that you mention it, I don't know if I feel nervous as much as I feel excited though, because this has been a race.
Well, the pit window will be closing in a minute 40. Everybody completing their pit stop. Andrew Warden coming into turn 1. Same with Big Bark. Doing a nice job here. Now that gap closing down to 1.6 seconds now for Andrew Warden. So Andrew Warden just chipping away at that lead. Now that gap between Andrew Warden and Daniel Wright expanding itself to 5.6 seconds. And now Andrew Warden even getting closer. Is Big Bark going to feel the pressure here soon? But I don't think so, because he was able to defend himself versus versus a lot of these guys. He's going to be a very aggressive driver against Andrew Warden here. But Andrew Warden, I feel like, is just throwing everything he has into that Honda NSX.
He ain't just throwing out the kitchen sink. He's throwing the whole kitchen at Big Bark right now. Daniel Wright can't be counted out either.
How do you throw the kitchen at somebody?
Well, like we said earlier, some things just don't make sense.
I knew that one would come back to haunt me. Very nice, Bash. Big Bark currently now he is a little slow here. He's not going quite as fast as I thought he was. His best lap time.
Andrew Warden probably seems to be thinking that Bark leading this race doesn't make sense, as he is looking to try to take that position away. But Big Bark, of course, is going to put on that defense. We've officially reached the 20-minute mark, and Big Bark is still leading. Pit window is officially closed. If somehow you haven't pitted, tough luck. Ooh, Warden is getting really close. That pit strategy. Oh, and Roadside Cookie has a drive-through penalty now. He thought he could keep 5th. That has to hurt. The number 5 in P5 now will surely be dropping down the order. Of course, Roadside Cookie had a great quali session and a admirable race, but a lot of bad luck too, sadly. Oh, but Warden is getting really close to Big Bark right now. This is tense. Maybe that knot in my stomach is starting to develop, because I don't know if it's because of impending incidents, but also, yeah, no, just all that pressure, all the tension between these two drivers fighting for the win. Is somebody going to go off? Oh, no, they both go pretty wide, though trying to be as respectful to track limits as possible.
A drive-through would be detrimental to your race right now.
Yeah.
And Andrew Warden's not somebody who's used to follow. He's used to leading these races. He's used to being out in front here at Apollo Racing Club. So he is in a very different position here tonight. But he's doing he's doing a good job. He's racing hard, trying to get up through the order. But Big Bark, he's putting on the defensive moves as they come through the final turn, down to the final straight with 18 minutes to go.
This sort of reminds me of the British Grand Prix. Just the battle between Leclerc and Hamilton. Which is funny because Big Bark is driving a Ferrari. We'll see if the Ferrari comes out on top this time. Warden certainly isn't making it easy.
Brandon Gobes currently making some defensive moves versus Dave Hassar for 11th.
Oh, yeah, they're really close, huh?
Back to the battle for the lead here. Big Bark, he is approaching some lap traffic, so hopefully, who is that? That is a BMW. Is that Castillo?
Castillo, yes. If he can get past faster than Warden, that could give him an advantage. Plus, he is closer, so he is able to take advantage of that slipstream. Yep. Castillo letting both of them get past. Oh, but Warden gets a little bit close, eats some gravel. Very ambitious, and very well done to him for keeping it tidy. Oh, and he gets the overtake on Big Bark during that corner, during the start of the high corner situation. But Big Bark is still seeing red. I don't know if he'll be able to get the move back, but he certainly will try, especially as Andrew Warden is starting to touch gravel, and Big Bark is keeping it relatively tidy. Ooh. Just got to let that slipstream work.
I want to take a look back at the battle for now P9. P8 actually, as Jeff Fleischman, Roadside Cookie, and Alex Alfonso are very, very close together here. With 16 minutes to go here, Dave Hassar right on the back bumper of the Audi of Brandon Gobes. And then looking at, let's see if anybody else is doing anything. That's about it for battles, I think, on track.
There's Wilkinson and Green.
Oh, yeah.
For 13th.
That battle's been continuous. 15 minutes to go.
Oh, but Big Bark is just not giving up. I think Andrew Warden is continuing to stretch the gap a little bit at a time. But, yeah, we'll have to see if he's able to get, like, miles ahead of Big Bark, like Big Bark was to everyone else after that first incident. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, no, it looks like Andrew Warden's just running away with it. Oof. Big Bark could still get second, though. I mean, he's like 7 seconds ahead of Daniel Wright. And Wright has been
3
going
seconds.
pretty quickly, but 3 seconds. Yeah, the fluctuation. Yeah, no, if Big Bark is able to drive at least pretty well and is able to get whatever slipstream from Warden he can still at the very least keep an iron grip on second.
Let's see here. Let's go back to the battle for P5 with Ice Tin and Craig Bray. Craig Bray in currently 5th in that NSX.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if Eiston has anything to say about that, though. Not quite handling those corners as cleanly as Craig Bray is, possibly because of the distance, trying to avoid a collision. But maybe he's given up a little bit too much time as he's dropping back slightly. We'll have to see if he's able to get back up to Craig Bray's position during these braking zones. Ooh, that's very ambitious braking from Eiston indeed, and he's back up to speed with Craig Bray. Just has to carry it through those corners. Maintain smoothness. Smoothness is just so important on this track. When it just hits you with all these turns in sequence.
$13 minutes
they're getting
here.
close.
They are getting very close. Let's see here. Andrew Warden currently leading. Now let's keep our eyes on this battle here. Let's go to Chris Yu, Saavedra, and Timmy Wilkins. And Timmy Wilkins going out wide and has to give up the position to the Bentley. He'll fall down to 15th. Saavedra up in the 14th. Looking back at the battle for 5th place, these guys just can't imagine. This has been a great battle to watch. I wish we could have watched a little more of this season, but here comes Craig Bray, 14 seconds behind Waffle Smacks, but only 6/10 in front of the McLaren of Eiston as they come now through the chicane. And Craig Bray, I don't think he's even worried about Eiston right now. I think he's just worried about just putting in the lap times.
Yeah. That said, I think Eiston is a little tidier than he was previous laps. I don't know if that's going to convert to anything, but yeah, at the very least, Eiston probably shouldn't be worried about losing positions either. If Craig Bray is able to maintain his tidiness, then it's a done deal for him. Daniel Wright is getting marginally closer to Big Bark, who is, I think, around the same distance to Andrew Warden as Wright is to himself. So yeah, that's going to be crazy. Maybe we might see the Warden Wright 1-2 after all. Bark is trying his hardest to not let that happen, not to let second place slip through his fingers. Afonso catching up onto Jeff Fleischman, though. Less than a second separates them. We'll see if the BMW is able to get the upper hand on the Audi. So far, I think Afonso's turning has been doing well for him, but he has to make sure that he brakes appropriately as well. Maybe take some risks, maybe show some ambition. I mean, he is getting bit by bit closer to Jeff Fleischman, but when they get close enough, Afonso needs to make sure he has the racecraft in order to make the overtaking maneuver. Ooh. Yeah, now he's in put on pressure territory.
Now let's see. I'm just looking through here. The pressure on Fleischman getting real. Craig Bray pulling away from Easton with every lap now. Craig Bray now ahead 1.1 seconds in front of Easton. Now Alex Alfonso getting very, very close. To the rear end of the the Audi of Jeff Fleischman.
Yep. As an update for the top three, Big Bark and Daniel Wright now about 1.5 seconds apart. So Daniel Wright really wants to get that position, it seems, and he's pretty smooth in that McLaren too. Only 10 minutes left though. We'll see if Big Bark's able to put on some more crazy defense. Andrew Warden just now out of reach at this point. Going back to the battle for 9th. Alex Afonso trying to add another point to his collection after this race. Fleischman goes a little slowly through that corner. Oh, but Afonso slips a little bit, and now he's got work to do all over again. Unfortunate.
Craig Bray currently trying to get by through traffic here as Easton is continuously trying to track him down. And
yeah, there's a lot of action happening, but it's hard to keep track of it all. This race has only just gotten better and better. Oh, but Wright is only half a second behind Big Bark at this point. Wright could be trying to swoop that position now.
And looks like here they go into the heavy braking zone, into turn number 10. Doesn't get the job done just yet, but here comes Daniel Wright trying to just sniff the rear end. It's getting those exhaust fumes into the nose of the car, getting that dirty air. And this might cause some issues for Big Bark. Big Bark has driven a great race today. He led majority of it, but Andrew Warden, of course, the man himself, flying here at Barcelona. But now it is Daniel Wright's turn to potentially pick up another second place here at Apollo Racing Club. Let's see what happens here when they're coming down into turn number 1. Now with that slipstream from Big Bark, can he get close enough? No, he's just going to tuck in right behind Big Bark and just follow him through.
At least picking up a decent amount of speed though. Yeah, sometimes you're not thinking about the current corner. You're thinking about the next corner or the corner after that. That's what separates the good drivers from the great drivers, in my opinion. And Daniel Wright seems to be following that strategy to the letter. The question is at exactly which corner is he planning to attack? And will Big Bark let him? He seems to be doing some really good defense right now. Probably kicking himself after losing that position to Andrew Warden, but he's doing a good job against Wright. Rest of the grid seems to be where they used to be. Easton still catching up to Bray. Afonso still catching up to Fleischman. So it's not just Daniel Wright who's having trouble overtaking. Oh, but his troubles might be ending soon as he's now side by side with Big Bark. Big Bark trying to defend. Okay, yeah, nah, Daniel Wright is going to need to do a little better than that if he is going to slip past Big Bark. Of course, these final turns are kind of hard to overtake. Maybe he'll try to build up some slipstream and try again in the first few. This is so tense.
Very intense indeed. Daniel Wright now trying his hardest. He's pushing hard down the front straight here, but Big Bark defending his position once again through turn number 1, and Daniel Wright's just going to follow him through and is going to try again. He's got to find a way to get on the inside on one of these straights, and maybe he'll do it this time because he's really, really close. Let's head on board with Daniel Wright just to see how close he is. It looks like Big Bark, he moves to the inside on turn number 4. And here they come down the straight before turn number 5. Again, another heavy braking zone. Big Bark doing a good job, but he goes a little bit wide. This is going to open up the door for Daniel Wright to maybe make a move on the inside. And you can see Daniel Wright, he is sniffing the back bumper of that Ferrari. And here they come into turn number 7. And this is where it can get really, really spicy.
Big Bark did, of course, correct himself, but Daniel Wright's gained distance nonetheless, and time will tell if Big Bark will even be able to hang on. Is this going to be the one?
Daniel Wright is down the inside. Now there's going to be contact there. They touch a little bit here, but...
Yeah, we got some Magnussen moves over here. Forces Wright off the track slightly. Less than 5 minutes to go now. This is an actual popcorn moment right here.
Daniel Wright trying to find a way through, but this time he actually might be closer here. There goes Big Bark. He's trying to get away from Daniel Wright, but who knows what can happen here. No overseer or underseer coming out of the corner here, so Big Bark might be safe here as they come down the front straight, and this is where things could get interesting again. Can Daniel Wright actually break later this time to make a move on the inside? It looks like he's not this time around again in turn 1.
Yeah, Big Bark still got a couple of laps to try to defend from Daniel Wright. Wright not making it easy as he is turning up the volume himself. Gonna try to outbrake here. Gets a little closer. Oh, whoa.
Ooh.
Slides a little bit.
A little bit of
Shout
slide.
out to Big Bark for keeping it tidy despite the massive amounts of pressure from Daniel Wright. More pressure than the bottom of the ocean right here. Afonso has gotten past Fleischman, but Fleischman is still pretty close. Easton still trying to catch up to Craig Bray.
Looking over at Fleischman, he is trying to get some gains here into turn number 1, but it's really just about Alfonso finding a little bit of speed through turn 1 and 2, so he'll stay ahead a little bit here. Back to Daniel Wright, and oh, we missed it. We missed the overtake. Daniel Wright finally getting by, and he probably made the move into turn 10. Now they come into the final chicane and the penultimate turn. Nicely done there from Daniel Wright. Daniel Wright now moves himself into P2.
And he's slowly losing Big Bark as well. Big Bark, of course, not giving... Oh, Big Bark actually gaining some distance. So his race definitely isn't over yet. Ooh, he tries to go up on the inside of Daniel Wright, and oh my goodness, what an overtake.
Says, you know, anything you can do, I can do better, and I'm gonna take back the second position before we even get into turn number 2. So here they come through turn number 3 and down to turn number 4, and this is where it gets really, you know, it can get very close here. But this is gonna be a battle we're gonna keep our eyes on till the very end.
Yep, this is a battle indeed. Who better than a Ferrari and a McLaren to go at each other's throats like this? Big Bark just hugging that corner super nicely. Daniel Wright sort of, I think, slips up a little bit. He's shook. He's like, did Big Bark really just do that? Of course, Andrew Warden isn't concerned in the slightest because he's in a completely different multiverse at this point. A minute to go. It looks like it's after this lap. It's just going to be 2 more. Ooh, Daniel Wright tries to make a move on the inside again. Big Bark trying to defend. Oh, Daniel Wright touches some grass right there. Yeah, Big Bark is just... I'm at least getting second. You can't take second away from me. Oh, but as it turns out, Andrew Warden is on the final lap. So I guess the white flag has been woven. So Daniel Wright's just got 1 more lap to try to overtake Big Bark. Getting some slipstream, gonna try to make himself clear. Maybe try to do to Big Bark what was done to him. Is he going to succeed? No, Big Bark puts on the defensive move, but goes a little wide. We'll see if Daniel Wright is able to take advantage. Indeed, he does, but oh, Big Bark coming up the inside. All right, who's gonna outbreak who? This is dramatic. We actually are watching a movie. This is a popcorn moment right here. Directed by Ron Howard. Daniel Wright trades once again.
Side by side, basically making contact with each other's mirrors. Big Bark holding on to the inside line as they now come into turn 7. Into turn 6, excuse me. Now coming into turn 7. Daniel Wright had to back out just a little bit here, but here comes Big Bark once again. They're going to come up into the straight, and this is where it can get really interesting. Can Daniel Wright find the slipstream here as they now come down into turn number 10? Big Bark trying to move down the outside. Daniel Wright moves to the inside, and he makes the move stick this time, but Daniel Wright this time.
But it's wide.
It went wide.
Way too ambitious. And Big Bark just escapes with his life there as Andrew Warden prepares to cross the finish line and get the dub. But Big Bark, my goodness, what a race Big Bark has had. He can be pleased with himself, able to capitalize, almost winning, but at least getting second place after a titan effort from Andrew Warden and Daniel Wright, who managed to make themselves back up into the podium. I don't remember, I know Driver of the Day is an F1 thing. I'm sort of glad that it is, because there are so many candidates here that we could consider. Roadside Cookie finishing 8th after a respectable quali to race transition effort. Definitely the best of the rest. Jeff Fleischman also finishing ahead of a couple of pros, most notably Dave Hassar. Lots and lots of stories we could be told. But yeah, Warden, Bark, and Wright are certainly the talk of the town this race. What a race this was.
Dave Hassar trying to make it out, trying to make a move for the top 10 does not happen, but Jeff Fleischman finishes out in the top 10. Brandon Gobes comes across the line in P12. Saavedra coming through the last chicane now. He'll finish his night in P13, excuse me. Chris Ungurian now coming into the chicane. He's having some pressure from Timmy Wilkins. These two have had a pretty good battle pretty much all race, but Ungurian going to come across through the final turn, and he will come home in P15. Timmy Wilkins in P14, 16, and then Alan Zoe in P16, and Castillo in P17. Tommy Kogan and Stevens are your DNFs. So a very, very good race. Oh no, Cookie, no. We don't need to see that, so we apologize for the language on our screen. But we will end it there. Well, we had a very good race there.
I gotta ask, what was your favorite storyline of this race?
Oh, I think the storyline was the comeback of Andrew Warden after making contact with Daniel Wright, falling down the grid, and basically crushing Big Bark's hopes and dreams of winning here tonight at Apollo Racing Club. So, what about for yourself?
Yeah, no, that's definitely up there for me. Warden really made good use of that tire strategy, but just the battle at the end between Big Bark and Daniel Wright, that was some craziness right there. So many overtakes back and forth, a lot of trading as well. That huge overtake first corner, Big Bark on Daniel Wright. And then the last lap effort where Wright tried to do the same at the start of the final sector, only to just go wide. Lots of ambition. Both of these drivers put their heart and soul into that race. They really wanted second place. Unfortunately, only one driver could get it, and that driver was Big Bark.
Indeed, it was. Well, folks, that will do it for us tonight here at Apollo Racing Club. We want to thank you for watching. Tomorrow night, a new chapter begins at Apollo Racing Club. Very excited about the new announcement coming out. So join us on Discord and on our social medias to find out for more information. So for everybody here at Apollo Racing Club and for Bash and myself, we want to thank you for watching tonight, and we hope to see you next time.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed that race as much as we did.